Hey guys, I just wanted to make a quick video about Teilhard ideas about Christianity and Buddhism, or Eastern religion and Western religion. Um, I was reading his book Towards the Future, and a couple of topics came up that I thought were an interesting interpretation for somebody like Teilhard, because for the most part I agree with him, but when it came to his views on Buddhism, I think they may be a little bit dated. Um, but at any rate, I just wanted to get your opinion on it. His argument is that if we can see the whole story of evolution as this unfolding, this pull towards a greater communion, then any religion that basically tells you that to give up that zest um, and to disengage from the world and start beginning more aesthetic practice and not being as involved in the world, sort of noting that, all right, well, unity, the way to unity is through negation and passivity. Negate the many to find the one. There's many forms, they come and go. Return to the source. Uh, while in the Western tradition, he believes at least, that um, we are instead engaging the many. And what I mean by the many, actually, it's sort of the same kind of idea, the world. We engage the world and, as he said, to use his words, sublimate the world to help it become divine instead of completely rejecting it. So basically, he saw Christianity as embracing the world and Buddhism as forgetting the world. But I don't know if this is a good interpretation or not. Um, Perhaps at the time when there was less literature and access to Buddhism, this is towards the turn of the century, early 20th century, it was easier to come to that conclusion. But I mean, to me, I think that perhaps there is a tradition of aestheticism, um, and a tradition of reclining, secluding oneself, going down the path of leaving civilization, leaving society, um, in early Buddhism. And Teilhard actually mentions that Christianity had similar roots as Buddhism did, in, going to the deserts, living an ascetics life, and so forth. But I don't. Buddhism didn't stay that way, uh, at least not that I'm aware of. I mean, there's three major schools, and as far as I can tell, Buddhism evolved just like Christianity evolved, in that it became more engaged in the world. And I think as time went on, if I'm interpreting Mahayana Buddhism, um, I mean, it's called, like, I think it's called the greater vehicle. Just make sure. Yeah. So it literally means great vehicle, and yeah, I was hoping, I was confused. I don't know if it was greater or greatest, whatever. So great vehicle, and I think at least from reading Wilbur, because Wilbur talks a lot about the different schools of Buddhism. You know, this it was meant to be able to, yes, carry more people to enlightenment or help more people. That's why it was called the Great Vehicle, and a vehicle for a reason. So I think there was a more engaged practice as time went on in Buddhism as in Christianity. And I think especially in Vajrayana Buddhism, where you begin to try to actually, as Teilhard said, sublimate that which was considered bad or worldly and find the divine in it. I do think that Buddhism has had its own evolution in that sense. And instead of just seeing well, the difference is, I think, is the modern interpretation of Buddhism is significantly different than the past. And the modern interpretation of Christianity, well, I'm not even sure it's as certain yet, or if it's completely embraced evolution yet. I don't think what Teilhard was saying, because his argument was towards the end of this chapter, look, we're going into an age of evolution and science, and Christianity is the best religion that's compatible with it. And I don't know if that's necessarily an accurate statement, only because the Christianity hasn't really, um, I wouldn't say it's entirely limiting itself, but it hasn't necessarily embraced Teilhard's ideas or anything really close. I mean, it's acknowledged evolution, but as far as theologically making statements and trying to engage modern science, I don't know, it seems a little reluctant to, um, at least in the public light. The only religion that I can think of that is doing this more, at least in a public spotlight, that I know of, is Buddhism, and they're working with neuroscientists and learning scientific knowledge in addition to their spiritual practice. So I don't know. I'm not saying Buddhism is the religion that trumps Christianity. Actually, not at all. But I think they're more similar than what Teilhard was arguing for. At least in my opinion, I think they're very similar. The idea that you know you can be saved in Christianity, the idea that you can allow Christ in your life, or you can be transformed by Christ already within you, um, is very similar to the Mahayana tradition that everybody already is enlightened. They're already bodhisattvas. They're just sleeping. So yeah, let's leave it at that. Thanks for listening, and please give me your input.